Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Vikings Vent Line. Daily Vikings Entertainment. Vent Line still lives on in the offseason edition here, so maybe you discovered Purple Daily during this awesome regular season of Vikings football during 2024, and you saw the great takes and all the fans that joined us right after every single Vikings game. Well, this show still lives on, just in a different iteration. It's Vikings off-season Vent Line. Every week I still bring in a couple fans to talk about the previous season, the off-season that's coming forth, the draft, anything that comes to mind. So this is a show that's still for you guys, the Vikings fans. Hell, we will welcome even other NFL fans, but we prefer if you're a Vikings fan. So if you'd like to join a future episode, you can hit me up. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. If you'd like to join a future episode of the show, I still like to release these every weekend. So appreciate everyone who has liked, subscribed, and has joined before. If you've been on before, guests on before, hit me up. If you're new to this and you'd like to come on for the first time, would love to have you. vikingsventline@gmail.com. Our friends at Standard Heating are keeping us warm here with our hot takes and with our houses nice and warm. I mean, the entire country seems to be frozen right now. I mean, even down in the Gulf, we have Josh, who's going to join us here from Tennessee. He said it's 15 degrees down there. Standard Heating and Air here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. They'll keep those furnaces working and running efficiently. They'll do the maintenance. You can sign up for the Smart Club maintenance plan, which will help you get priority scheduling, gives you discounts off repairs. Plus, maybe you're looking for work. You want to go work for Standard Heating? They'll even train you. That's right. They'll do it right there from their facility you're seeing on the YouTube screen. StandardHeating.com to make sure those HVACs and furnaces are working appropriately. Standard Heating, shout out to them for sponsoring Purple Daily. All right, let's get our guys in here. Let's get Josh and Garrett. We're represented from Minnesota, Tennessee, North Dakota. We're all cold. Even in Tennessee, we're all cold right now. Brutal out there. Absolutely brutal out there. Josh, as I said, it was like 15 degrees. I mean, that's very cold for Tennessee, I have to imagine, typically, even in January.
Typically, we get down to about the 30s, and I mean, that's about as low as we get, but it's been a cold one.
Yeah. And then, Garrett, man, you're in North Dakota. I empathize with you. That's blistering, awful cold as well.
Yeah, so right now we're in the 10s and 20s, but the Monday and Tuesday, well, basically the weekend and Monday were like negative 40, so go outside and within 5 minutes you can't feel the fingers, and I mean, right, and then next week's gonna be in all 30s and 40s. So it's North Dakota, it's like it is what it is. So
yep. Yeah, it was negative 30 here earlier this week as well in the Twin Cities. So it's brutal. It takes 60 degrees just to get up to freezing, and you're still at freezing levels. So that's where we're at right now. This weather. We're trying to stay warm. Hey guys, let's start this off here on Vent Line. Josh, I'll start with you. What's the number one thing you want to see the Vikings do this offseason? They're coming off a very successful year. Obviously, a little bit of a magic carpet ride. It ended prematurely, but what's the number one thing you want to see the Vikings do this offseason?
Honestly, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but for me, it's address the cornerback room because, I mean, there's not much. Besides Byron Murphy Jr., who might be brought back, there's not much veterans there, and there's not much depth there as far as like good depth. And I feel like with Dallas Turner and Bernard and them getting to the quarterback would be a little bit.
So.
Yeah, Josh cut out there just a little bit, but I'll get him back on the screen. Yeah, I mean, the cornerback room's something that they have to figure out. They had a lot of older and veteran players. They lost Mekhi Blackman. They get Josh back up in here. Josh, all good. I think we lost there for a second, but all good. I think you're back on now. But you were saying how the cornerbacks, if you can get them figured out, that would obviously be great. A lot of older players. I know Vikings fans get sick of like always trying to draft cornerbacks, but it might be something they have to do. Wouldn't be surprised at all. They got decent play out of like the Gilmores of the world, but Shaq Griffin too. They need to address and fix that cornerback position. I like it. It's not the spiciest one or not like the top of mind, but it's still something that they obviously have to figure out. Garrett, how about you, man? What's the number one thing you want to see the Vikings do this offseason?
So everybody is kind of in the same boat as interior offensive line. And I agree with them, but my thing is the interior defensive line. We have our edges set. We have the Gangster. We have Gernard. JL Redmond, the last few games he showed up pretty good. Harrison Phillips, he's been average. He has been that blue chipper. And, when we send 4 guys to the quarterback, there's no pressure. And besides, maybe when we blitz out, blitz in the whole house. But I like to see us get like a Dexter Lawrence type guy, like someone who just is a brick wall, someone who gets constant pressure. I mean, look at the Rams this playoffs. Their defensive line is just a mad rush. And if we get that figured out and get Sam Grenard and the Gangster, and then have cornerback depth like Josh said, that defense can be 10 times better than it was this season.
Yeah, both sides, defensive interior, offensive interior. I think Vikings fans have just been pounding on the table for the last 4 or 5 years, and with the offensive line going back even further. Since they basically said goodbye to Linval Joseph, they just haven't gotten that same push, whether it's rushing the quarterback, disrupting the run. I think Harrison Phillips is a solid player, but yeah, they need someone else to complement him. And look, rushing the quarterback is the first foremost important thing on the defense. They've checked those boxes with Grenard and Van Ginkel, and hopefully Dallas Turner also gets a little bit more run here too. Like they've done a good job at figuring out that. Now can they find some interior help, whether that's free agency or the draft? Very interested to see. Probably a good segue too, I guess. What positions, Josh, are you looking for the Vikings to address the draft? I know you said cornerback, but what are the other positions you want to see the Vikings go fix this year's draft?
Besides, I mean, what everybody's been saying as far as, defensive interior line, I think it's the running back position, because Aaron Jones, which I do feel is important to bring back because of having a young quarterback, but he doesn't have the juice in his legs like he used to. He doesn't have that extra push, because he used to be a given in the red zone, 5-yard line. Give it to him, he's in. And he just doesn't have it anymore. No shame to him, but we need something younger. We need younger legs. And I prefer Marion Hampton.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the running back position, I think, got like so down in the dumps, and people just said, forget it, just plug in some random dude. Well, Vikings have some terrible depth behind Aaron Jones. Cam Akers is probably not a long-term solution. Ty Chandler hasn't panned out. It might be time to go address it. You look at the rest of the free agent running backs like Joe Mixon and Derrick Henry, who had obviously huge seasons going to new teams. It's totally possible. Maybe they bring back Aaron Jones on a 1-year deal as the secondary dude or a two-headed monster of the rookie that they do draft early or address in the draft this year. I'd be for it. It's been an area that KOC just hasn't been able to unlock, whether it's personnel or coaching things. They need to figure out that running back position. Garrett, how about you? What position are you looking for the Vikings to draft this year?
So right now we don't have much draft capital. That we have 4 picks. I could be wrong about that. But like Josh said, the running back position, let's get someone in there. Free agency is going to be, we have $70 million, so I expect Quasi to cook there and get the interior offensive line fixed. And then obviously some cornerback. Comes to the draft, I'm kind of looking at the running back as well, but also just a bit more depth if it's possible, especially on that offensive line. I mean, I'm not sure if we'll bring back any of like Reisner, Bradbury, or Brandell. I mean, Reisner, okay, Bradbury needs to go. Brandell, he'd be a good depth guy, but in terms of the draft, I'd probably say either running back, like Josh said, or just depth pieces, or even quarterback if you can't find anybody in free agency.
Let me ask you guys this, a little on-the-spot question. I mean, it feels like Kwesi has had mixed results is probably the best way to put it in the draft. The first draft didn't go great. The second draft was all right. They found Jordan Addison. Ivan Pace was a nice find. Mekhi Blackman missed all this last year, but might be a solid player too. I mean, do you trust that Kwesi's going to make the right selection here? I mean, Josh, what's your kind of like trust level with Kwesi going into year 4 of being the GM and drafting for the Vikings this year?
If I was going like a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say about a 6.5, because he has shown that he's gotten better at it. And I think maybe the first year he was trying to think like, hey, I can do this. I have this. I can make this decisions myself. And I think we saw that he definitely put in Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores' their thought process into it as well this past time. And it wasn't great of a draft last year, but we don't know yet, of course, but
yeah,
it was a lot better. And I really feel like that came from Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. So with them contributing into his mindset, I trust them.
Yeah. Gary, how about you? I mean, he could trade back again this year. The Vikings only have at right now 3 picks that'll be moving up to 4, potentially 5, depending on some compensation situations. But what's your kind of confidence level with Kwesi as the Vikings GM?
So, in terms of drafting, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, I know his first couple of drafts were just not very good at all. Then last draft, he got Jason McCarthy, he got Dallas Turner, young pieces, and we had to see if Dallas Turner turns out. I mean, he's young. JJ McCarthy obviously will be coming up here soon. Free agency, I trust him like 9 or 10 when it comes to free agency. I mean, he last offseason he made a lot of great moves, and drafting, I might have maybe a 5 for that. I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, I know that we extended Kevin O'Connell, which I loved. Extending Kwesi. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's proven to us in free agency that he is the guy. In terms of drafting, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you can't draft that good. But I'm this kind of guy, like, to see what happens. If he drafts a couple of good guys, let's praise him. If he just keeps doing, bust after bust, and you got to start questioning that. But I'm going to see what happens, and I can't really judge him in terms of drafting that much until we see J.J. McCarthy out and Dallas Turner out, because those two pieces are going to be very important in the future.
Yeah, especially the former and J.J. McCarthy. I mean, if the Vikings hit on a franchise quarterback, I'm not saying that all the other drafts and misses or busts are completely negated, but if you hit on J.J. McCarthy and you address the franchise position, excuse me, you're going to be in pretty good shape for a long-term contract. He's in line to maybe get one too. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it works out for Kwesi year 4. I think a trade back's probably the most likely scenario just because they're out of picks. I know Vikings fans probably don't want to hear that, but we'll see what happens. What was the highlight of the season for you guys? I mean, Josh, when this 2024 season goes 14-3, they double up their over/under win total. I know it ended, early, but what was a highlight of the season for you?
Beating the Packers, honestly. I mean, because those were the actual Viking experience. Like, hey, we're doing great. We're going to blow them out. Oh, snap. Hold on. They're coming back. Oh, we edged it out. Like, it was just the perfect thrill of an experience. And I enjoy those kind of games. The blowouts are, they look good on paper. And, hey, your point differentials. But I want to feel things. Make me feel all the bad emotions, the good emotions, and everything.
Yeah, the beating the Packers twice is always good. You're right to those games. I mean, they're the same game. Like they get off to big, comfortable leads. Green Bay meticulously gets back into the game somehow, and now you're sweating a little bit. But hell, I know I can probably speak for every Vikings fan. Garrett probably feels the same way too. Anytime you beat the Packers twice in a year is a huge win for you. Yeah, and those games were fun. The Packers were a better team win total wise from a season ago, but clearly we're not lacking, or they were lacking the same juice they had going into the postseason in 2023. Should make still for a really good division next year with the Lions, and who knows with the Bears. But beating the Packers twice, you always sign up for that. Garrett, how about you, man? What was a highlight of the season for you this year?
So I gotta go down to the moment when Sam Darnold got in the locker room. He got poured on with water. I know that was like the ultimate peak, and that's bad that he went down into pumpkin mode. But that locker room moment, like you see Kevin O'Connell, like you just see him in that moment, like you just see him, like, yeah, he's my guy. But then all of a sudden, then like, oh, last 2 games, he's not my guy. But just to see all the support Sam Darnold got before he went into pumpkin mode was just, you gotta enjoy little moments every now and then. I know a lot of people kind of just turn on Sam Darnold, but I just enjoyed that moment. Just gotta enjoy it. Be grateful with him, and even know that he was a 1 year quarterback with us, he still gave us a hell of a season.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic Vikings for a random QB you didn't have expectations for to show up and deliver tenfold over the course of the season. I know he played like crap over the last 2 games, but it's an incredible story. I mean, the dude revitalized his entire career. I don't know what the future holds for him. If he, I don't think he comes back here, but he still gets a decent bag from somewhere else. And I mean, the Vikings saved his football career, at least extended it for a few more seasons and gave him a chance to make generational money. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun ride watching him just Kevin O'Connell cook with him and make sure that he is indeed still a decent quarterback. I mean, that's what's probably the most thing you're excited about with KOC going forward, JJ McCarthy, or even if another bridge guy like Daniel Jones is brought back, that Kevin O'Connell is this QB whisperer, and he got something out of Sam Darnold that no one else was able to do in the previous years. So beating the Packers twice, seeing Darnold have the magic carpet ride, totally all good things in the 2024 season. One last thing here before we say goodbye on Vikings Vent Line, but a shout out to our friends at Underdog. Underdog, you can get new users get 50% deposit match when they sign up with promo code SCORE. Also, the current users, keep those notifications on for no sweat tokens, some profit boosts, etc. Shout out to Underdog. They've been helping us out all football season on Purple Daily and previous years too. So go download the Underdog app. Dudes, before we wrap up, Josh, any final takes, any shout outs you want to give here on Vikings Vent Line? Love to give the floor to you guys to get anything off your chest here on Purple Daily.
I just want to say, I feel like a lot of the fans, because I'm in the Bleacher Report Vikings group, and I see a lot of negativity, and it's not easy doing what they do, especially like play calling either, because you have so many defensive minds and because Kevin O'Connell shares the same system as others, as McVay, Shanahan, it's easier to find things, to attack. And so, have fun with the season, ups, downs, didn't get far this season, but hey, it could have been worse. We could have been, a 6-win team. So enjoy it. And also, I think that we also need to be very patient with JJ McCarthy, because yes, he's learned, he's had the learning experience, but if we start turning on him because he has 2 or 3 bad games, oh, you should have kept Darnold, all that talk, I don't want to get in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be patient with him. There's going to be some speed bumps along the way. And yeah, let's everyone calm down. Kevin O'Connell's the right coach. I know it was a bad taste to end, but long haul. No one expected the Vikings to even be in the playoffs, let alone win 14 games. But now the pressure starts a little bit, but I'm excited to watch it percolate, build up a little bit as well. Garrett, how about you, man? Any last takes, any shout outs here on Vikings Vent Line?
So actually, I have a hot take: is this offseason is the most important offseason in the Vikings history.
Yeah.
And because of that, we have $78 million in cap space. We have JJ McCarthy. Shout out to JJ, the JJ shirt, rocking
Love it.
that shirt. You have all that money. I mean, I know the draft capital is very limited, but right now they have laid a foundation. We have JJ McCarthy on rookie deal, cheap deal. So you have to build that roster. You have to around it. I know he's mobile. That's good. If you don't hit offensive linemen that great this offseason, he is mobile. So I'd be, a nice, pro with him. But you have to build that roster around him. You just have to. You cannot. It's like Caleb Williams kind of thing. Is that you cannot put that kind of player into a team that has a dysfunctional offensive line. So. And I mean, shout out to Positive Phil too. I mean, the last 2 Vent Lines, the last 2 games, he was always being positive. So shout out to Positive Phil. I know people are like, he's so delusional. I'm like, no, like has some positivity. But no, shout out to him, and shout out to you guys at Purple Daily, providing all the content you guys provide and all your hot takes. And I'm excited, Jim McCarthy coming in, and I know he's young. Like Josh said, like we gotta be patient with him, because I guarantee you with that this next season here, he has 2 bad games. People are gonna turn on him like crazy. Like he's a bust, and like no, he's 22 years old. KOC will develop him into, I believe, a top 10 cornerback, in the league. And if he turns out to be a bust, then that's what it is. But I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing him just shine. I mean, I love that guy so much. He's just about him. Now JJ is gonna be a special connection. So
absolutely, Garrett. Appreciate you. Josh, thank you for coming on Vikings Vent Line, guys. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate you guys listening to Purple Daily every day, every week. And again, anyone wants to join a future episode like that, like Vent Line, like we just had here, hit me up. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment. We just want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die.